We appreciate you joining us tonight at this kickoff event for our Time for Academic Progress. Time for Academic Progress is an important program that we run at BCC, and it's unique to, as far as I know, to the high schools in Montgomery County. It's definitely unique to the high schools that I have experience in that it is a program that is open to all students to provide them support across core content areas. So tonight we're going to share some information about how the TAP program works. We're going to hear from the Educational Foundation about kind of their reasons for supporting the program and how it was envisioned. And we're going to talk about how we're going to make TAP work in a virtual world, which is new territory for all of us, but we've tried to put some thought into exactly how we can make this successful. And we actually are very hopeful that some of the lessons that we have from this time will be able to carry over into the future and make sure that we have a successful program in future years also. I do want to share a little bit about how our presentation is going to work tonight. So in this webinar, we don't have the opportunity to actually have people who are participating in the audience ask questions out loud. But there is a question and answer function in the webinar, and we ask that if you have a question as we're going through, that you type that question in for us as we go through. Different members of the team here will be monitoring that, and we'll be answering some of those questions in type format, but most of them will actually be answering out loud when we get to the end of that. So. At this point, I'm going to introduce Mr. Matt Gandel, who is the president of the BCC Educational Foundation and one of our great partners with this program. And I'm going to ask him to share some more about TAP and its history.
Thanks, Dr. Mooney. Good evening to everyone who's on from the community. Pleasure to be here with you, and had multiple students at BCC, and myself was an alum of the school, so a lot of connections to BCC. And the foundation, for those of you who don't know, is a nonprofit volunteer organization at the school that helps raise money to support programs at the school that aren't funded by the county and that would help improve student success. And we've been around for over 20 years. So we're really pleased to be a longtime supporter of TAP. This program has been in place since the 1990s. And like all programs that the foundation funds, the origins of it were conversations with the school leadership, teachers, parents, and students about needs that were going unaddressed at the school. And it became really clear that students needed opportunities for extra academic support outside of the school day to be successful. And we knew that some families could afford to provide that support on their own to their students, but frankly, many couldn't. So the foundation at the time imagined the possibility of giving all students at BCC access to after-school academic support directly from BCC teachers, free of charge. That was very important to us for equity reasons, to make sure we were helping to level the playing field and that there was high quality support available to anyone who needed it all year round. So it's been around for a long time. As Dr. Mooney said, we know this year will be different, and we're excited to hear more about that tonight. But it fits the values of the school and I think our community to try to level the playing field for all, and that's what this program is designed to do. It's reflective of the very high standards that we know exists at BCC for all students, and a recognition that with high academic standards needs to come a full range of supports, and TAP is just one example of that. Really importantly to us from the beginning of this program, it's an inclusive, not an exclusive program. So it was designed to try to be there for any student at any grade level, whether they're struggling in a class at a grade level, on level or honors class, whether they're really pushing into AP and IB and need extra support. It was designed to be available in all the core subjects, particularly where the support was needed. And over the years, it's ebbed and flowed in terms of the demand in certain subjects, but we wanted it to be open to all and available in all subjects. It's evolved in structure as the needs have evolved. And as I said, I know it will evolve this year. Just to give you a sense of the participation rates in the past, we've had over 50% of the students at BCC taking advantage of TAP in some years, which we think is terrific. We hope that will happen again this year because we anticipate there are going to be even greater support needs for students as they're adapting to a new virtual learning environment. And so we think TAP could be more important than ever. Because it's BCC teachers providing the extra support, we think the quality is guaranteed, and we know that the alignment with the curriculum is guaranteed in ways that are very hard to do if you bring this to outside outfits, which I know others do in other schools. And importantly, we've had really good results over the years. Students have given the program high marks and have really appreciated having the opportunity to get this support from their very own teachers. So again, we're thrilled to be supporters of it. The program is completely paid for by the foundation. So we're going to continue to do that as long as it can be useful. And we're ready to be nimble partners, Dr. Mooney, with you and your team as you adapt the program this year and into the future.
Thank you, Mr. Gandel. So as we think about really what TAP looks like and what we are kind of going to work with this year, I want to share with you a little bit about how TAP fits into our entire structure of what we both expect for students and how we want to support students. So we know, and as Mr. Gandel mentioned, we know that BCC has a proud academic tradition and that we have students who need varying levels of support. And one of our goals in having the TAP program be successful is really to ensure that we are looking at all the different ways and all the different areas in which students might need support. So that means that we're really seeking to help students, whether they might need help with their English 9 homework or help with an AP composition or an IB language and literature paper when they're a senior in high school. And we look to provide that support across several different ways. But Ms. Adamson, if you could go to the next slide. When we share with students and when we talk about what we have as a means of having students be successful, we kind of put that into 4 real areas that they work with. And one of them is just being in attendance in class. One is talking to someone if you have problems. But the last 2 pieces that are really critical and that are really addressed by our TAP program are really the idea that when you're struggling that you ask for help and that you work to complete everything that's assigned to you. There are plenty of opportunities for students to struggle and plenty of opportunities for them to receive help. TAP is designed to be a structured program that allows teachers and students to interact in a way outside of the classroom that provides that support and to be a safe environment where students can get that support. So as we've structured it this year, we've actually thought about how we can make that work in a virtual environment. But we are going to spend a little bit of time sharing with you kind of what our students have to say about it. Ms. Sutton, who is one of our administrators at BCC, was the supervisor of the TAP program on the administrative side last year, and she's going to share with us a little bit now about the impact that it's had on students from their own voices. So Ms. Sutton.
Thank you very much. And you could go to the next slide while I talk, because I'm not going to read through all of the testimonials that are right there. These were just the ones I could fit on. I got several more after I'd already made the slide, so I'll leave that up for you to read as we go. By and large, students have just raved about TAP to me every single time I bring them in to ask, like, you know, where are you getting your extra support? What are you doing? How can we help you? They're like, well, I'm going to TAP, and that's been really helpful. And so much so that last year we even had a slight delay in getting started. We put out an initial date and had to push it back a week. And we had students that were just lining up waiting to get started on TAP. They were like, can we just hang out and talk with some of the teachers a little bit to get ready? Like, they were just so eager to dive right into getting that extra support. What we've done traditionally is we've had the 3 different rooms that are going, so that students can kind of self-assess where they need the most support and then go to those rooms. We usually have a room going for science, one for math, and then another one that does both English and social studies. And then there are teachers from those contents in those rooms. When the students go, they're instantly greeted by teachers who are welcoming them, encouraging them to come and keep coming back. They are able to ask any questions they have. If the teachers don't know, they know the system well enough to help them dig in and find the specific assignment that they're working on. Maybe they're an English 9 teacher and they aren't familiar with that English 10 assignment, and they're able to work with them through it, work through that with them. We have also found that our students really find that it's a good place to go if they have after school activities, such as play practice or rehearsals. Many of them like to just have a good place that they can go where it will be nice and quiet and they can get some work done before practice, because it's a little bit late for them to work by the time they get home and they really want to just dive right in when their brain is still fresh. So students really have come to benefit from this, and I know several have already reached out to me very eager to find out how we're going to make TAP work in the virtual setting. I know it's going to look different, but I don't doubt we're going to get many, many more testimonials off of this year as well. They just absolutely love the support that TAP provides.
Hi, I'm Vicki Adamson. I'm one of the assistant principals at BCC, and this is my first year supervising TAP. And in this transition, I'm going to talk about how TAP is going to be virtual. So I'm going to explain that to you and talk about our design to bring academic support to students in this virtual setting. As you can see on the screen, we're going to offer the tutoring in these 4 subject areas: science, math, social studies, and English. And we're going to start at 3:30, and students will be able to go to science for that hour. Math and social studies overlap because we find that there's not usually a lot of competition between these 2 areas. And then we'll close it out with English from 5:30 to 6:30. And so every day students will be able to go to any of those subject areas, and we have identified it so that students do not have to choose between whether or not they want to go to one or the other. We laid it out so that they can have a choice. They can go to all, or they can go to one. And even if they just want to sit in one of the Zoom rooms and get their work done and develop discipline in that way, they can do so. The TAP teachers that we have scheduled to work with students are on the screen now. In math, we have Ms. Rita Pascal and Mr. Mark Zebro. In social studies, we have Mr. Chris Murray and Mr. Sean Gorgian. In English, we have Mr. Tony Louis. And in science, we have Mr. Jake Hall. I have embedded some testimonials on this page and the next from teachers, and I am going to share those with you now.
My name is Chris Murray. I'm a National Board Certified Social Studies teacher with 15 years of teaching before coming to BCC. I currently teach government at BCC and peace studies. I teach ESOL as well. And before coming to BCC, I've taught ESOL World History as well as US History, and I've taught AP World History as well as AP Government. So I can help with any of those AP related questions, as well as anyone that's taking any of the other required courses.
And while I'm transitioning to the next slide, as you heard Mr. Murray say, he is a National Board Certified teacher. I just want to emphasize that because it speaks to the quality of the teachers available to tutor and work with students.
Hello, my name is Rita Pascal. I've been teaching with the math department at BCC for over 20 years. I have done TAP off and on through those years, and I am so old such that one of the students that I helped through pre-calculus is now one of my colleagues and is out on maternity leave right now. I have taught Algebra 1, related, the support class, Algebra 2, Honors Algebra 2, pre-calculus, Honors Pre-calculus, Geometry, Honors Geometry, AB Calculus, and BC Calculus. So I am pretty well versed in all of the levels of math that students might need help with, and I'm here to help them get through whatever they need. I hope to see them come by and get some support. Thanks.
So again, as Ms. Pascal was talking, I think that it's clear she has such a wealth of experience, and the teacher that she mentioned is out on maternity leave. And I think that it's really interesting that, again, that is just a mark of the success that TAP can have for students. We build their capacity so they can go and play it forward. And I would like to echo some of the things that Mr. Gandal said, because I think that the equitable use of resources to help stabilize and level this community. We know that many people in the community have resources, but then we have to think about our students who don't. And we have these quality teachers lined up to make sure that all students are able to get the academic support that they need. So I'm going to share 2 more testimonials, and then there's that written testimonial from Ms. Lloyd that appears on the screen. She's not doing TAP this year, but she did it in the past, and she speaks very highly of the program and the potential to help students. So I'm going to go ahead and share 2 more testimonials with you.
Greetings. My name is Mr. Lewis. I am the MYP coordinator at BCC, as well as the English teacher for 11th grade IB language and literature. I look forward to being your TAP English tutor this year and using my 16 years of experience to help strengthen you in the areas of language, literature, and composition. See you guys soon, virtually.
And 1 more teacher testimonial.
Hi parents, my name is Jacob Hall. I will be working with Science TAP this year. I'm teaching in IB Environmental Systems and Astronomy. I have worked with TAP many times over my 15 years at BCC in chemistry, astronomy, environmental science, earth space, and I've helped students with physics and biology as well. So I'm looking forward to working with your students. I know things are interesting right now, but I hope that our time together will be helpful to them. So looking forward to it. Thanks.
So again, I just want to emphasize the level of the quality and experience of the teachers we have lined up to work with your children. When we look at the virtual schedule, I wanted to share this with you because you can see that when students end their classes on most days, it's 2:40. And so by the time we start TAP, it's going to be 50 minutes later. So whether or not they want to go to other focused intervention with their teachers on days 1 and 3, or days 1 and 4 rather, they can still do that and also have some time to attend whichever TAP sessions they identify as needing. So the way we have TAP structured in the virtual setting, it's going to work with the existing schedule. Teachers are going to be co-host in one Zoom, and they can start this Zoom and create breakout sessions and work with students. And we figured that if we had one Zoom, it would be easy for students to know, oh, this is where I go for TAP. And it's just that the different subject areas are going to be available at different times in the day. And so that won't change. Sometimes it might be one teacher, sometimes 2. And with math, it could be 2 teachers. And then in the science and in English, it might just be 1 teacher. But we have ways to make sure that that teacher is able to get to all of the students. And sometimes the teachers might bring in students from the National Honor Society to support them as they are dealing with different levels or classes. So if I'm getting help for biology and someone else is there for physics, then I might, as a teacher, make myself available to go around to all of the students, but have a helper in the room so that any student who is there is getting attention whenever they need. And we also encourage students to simply come and join a session to do their work. If they are sitting at their computer and they have the Zoom room open and they might just be doing their homework, they don't know if they have a question. And so if they are in the Zoom, they can access the teacher at that time if something comes up, so that they don't get stuck or frustrated, and they can complete their work to turn it in. So that's just something that we offer. And I think that, as Dr. Mooney and Mr. Gandel said earlier, the alignment with the curriculum is really important. The teachers know that. They are also able to let their colleagues know of this service, so that in turn, their colleagues in the various departments can recommend that students go and receive help through TAP. So that is the last slide before we get to the question and answer period.
So there's a question in the Q&A that says, how are the math teachers set up to actually see the problem a student is struggling with, as well as to visually show them the steps in solving the problem? So this would be actually a very similar situation with what we would see in a classroom. All of our math teachers have access to document cameras and would be able to do screen sharing. We also have, for most of our math classes, if not all, access to online resources where a teacher could find out the question that a student is answering. So there will be some, it's a little bit different, a little more challenging for the teachers to get the problems sometimes, but it is something that we're going to work through and make sure that our teachers are able to help the students. So we are looking at, Whiteboard is a tool that's used online. It's another way that teachers can use in lieu of a document camera. So there will be different tools that teachers are using in order to answer those questions. Our goal is to have TAP start actually on Monday, October 5th. I do realize now that as we thought through this entire presentation, that's a slide that we left out that we should have included. So we will be kicking off TAP on Monday, and it will run Monday through Thursday. Every day that we have school, and that will run on those days from 3:30 to 6:30, as Miss Adamson shared on that schedule earlier. We will also be posting that schedule and the link for the room on our BCC website, and asking all teachers to post it in their MyMCPS classrooms also, so that students can have access to it very easily. And Ms. Sutton and Ms. Adamson, I don't want to, if you guys want to jump in for questions, you can at any point. I'll keep answering though as we go through. So in terms of every student seeing the problem a student is struggling with and hearing that conversation, that's when we'll be looking at different ways to use chat functions, which can be private chats when teachers set them up, or possibly even breakout rooms, so that we have opportunities for students to interact individually with teachers and go through that process. So I do also want to say, I see that there are several, my bubble for the chat message is coming up, popping and increasing. So I am unable to monitor both at the same time. So if you have a question, if you would please put it in the Q&A, that would be very helpful, just so that we're monitoring one place at a time. So we unfortunately are not able to offer support for our world languages during TAP. But if a student is struggling with world languages, we do have other programs that are available within the school, such as peer partners, where we could help a student receive assistance with that. So I would encourage you to have your child talk to their teacher about some options that might be available for support in world languages.
I would also echo what Dr. Moni said earlier. Teachers deal with this in this virtual setting, and this is one of the things that we are learning, how we are helping students by giving them the privacy, but also giving them the support. And whether or not teachers, there are some applications that teachers are using, and I have not used Nearpod because I'm an administrator, but I believe that there are ways that students can share their screens without the teachers showing it to the entire class. And so students can show the teachers what they're working on, and the teacher can use the chat function to give them private responses.
Additionally, I am seeing the question in the chat about just the concern over the privacy and having others struggle. Typically, they're all in the same room together anyway, moving forward. Like, so they are working through problems together. Sometimes they gather around a group of students working on the same problem, but they all typically they're in a room with the teacher. Everybody hears the questions that people are working on and kind of the support, but they're not really paying attention to it. It's kind of quiet one-on-one, just like it would be in a regular classroom type setting. And as Ms. Adamson said, we have a few tools available to us to kind of mimic that same type of situation in a virtual setting.
And I think that last question, that this is a greater demand, and we are all stretching to try and reach that demand. I met with the teachers yesterday. They are all ready and eager to kick this off on Monday. And I think that one of the things that everyone should remember is that the teachers are very excited, but they are also going to be very vigilant about things that we might need to tweak in order to improve this process. We believe we have a really good plan in place, but if we need to make some adjustments, once we better understand how this can be most helpful, we are certainly willing to make those adjustments. But we have really good people in place, and we are ready to receive students to support them with their academics.
So, and I want to add to what Ms. Adamson is saying there. If that means in terms of kind of just a comparison to last year. Last year we ran TAP for an hour after school with 3 classrooms and 1 teacher in each classroom most of the time. So this year we've increased to 3 hours and 4 days a week. And we're really trying to spread that out. And sometimes we will have 2 teachers for some subject areas. So we're really trying to make sure that we anticipated that potential need in terms of the time frame that we have available for students to receive assistance. But we also know, and we're willing to come back. It would be a great problem for us to have, if you want to call it a problem, to have to come back and say, hey, we need to add another teacher in. We have 60 students every day showing up for math, and we just can't handle that volume. If that's a situation that we find ourselves in, then we'll be, coming back and looking at how we can approach that in a meaningful way that works. I do also want to address, so just to share, there's a question. I mentioned Peer Partners earlier. So Peer Partners is a program, a peer tutoring program that we actually also offer at BCC. It's just something that's complementary, but it does involve students mainly from honor societies matching up with other students to provide some tutoring. And that's something that we are still working out some details on, primarily because of the virtual environment.
Dr. Mooney, it's Matt Gandel again. I just wanted to weigh in with from the foundation perspective on the capacity question or the demand question. We have made it clear, and I'll just tell all the folks on the line, to Dr. Mooney and Ms. Addison and Sutton, that we are prepared to put more resources into this program if there's greater demand. We want to help support the capacity needed to support the students. So we're ready and willing to make a larger investment if it's needed, and there are teachers who can provide the supports. We've also said that beyond TAP, frankly, we're going into this year recognizing how different it's going to be for students and teachers alike, and we're ready and willing to make sure that financial resources are available to provide a range of supports to students and teachers in order to still be successful even in this challenging environment. And that goes for TAP for sure, given how many students that potentially can touch.
Thank you, Mr. Gandel.
And I will also say that while I have not been in any math classrooms because I don't supervise math, I know that the math teachers have a way to deal with this because they have to do it in class. They have to see what students are working on. And we can find that out, but I bet if we had a math teacher here, and I don't know if Dr. Mooney or Ms. Sutton can answer that question, but math teachers do have a way that they are seeing the work that students are doing. And that's probably through, I know that there's some Google apps that allow that. I just don't know which ones they're using.
Certainly, and I responded in the Q&A as well. I know we have teachers who are actively using Nearpod and using Kami, both as tools to be able to see students' work directly. Both have tools for the students to be able to write on the problems either as a PDF or as part of the screen. And I'm sure there are additional tools that they're using. I just have not personally observed those yet, but I have seen both of those live in action in our math classes. And other classes as well, not just math.
And while I don't see any additional questions in the Q&A, I am going to again emphasize that if you have further questions, my email is on the screen. I am going to be the liaison to field those questions if you have them, and you can contact me and I can get answers for you. And this is just, again, continuing that proud academic tradition at BCC to make sure that we give equitable access to all students. And so this is a wonderful program. We have some great teachers, and we're going to do the best by the students who come to us.
So not seeing any more questions. Oh, yes, I will remind you of the days and times for each subject. Ms. Adamson, can you actually go back to that the slide with the time slots on it? So TAP will start on Monday, October 5th, this coming Monday, and it will be in session every day that we have school. Even if it's a half day, it's our plan to run this. And the times are listed on the screen now, but 3:30 to 4:30 for science, 4:30 to 5:30 for math, and 4:30 to 5:30 for social studies, as well as 5:30 to 6:30 for English, then ending that out.
If I could just jump in, I apologize. It does look like we missed the answer to the question about college essay support. Yes, the English teachers are still available to provide college essay support during TAP. That's a very common thing that seniors do, and they are still more than willing to help with that.
And if you heard, and Mr. Louis, as he was speaking, he specifically mentioned composition. And so that is certainly somewhere where students can go and get advice and even to spend time writing if they want someone to give them some feedback on what they're saying and how they're presenting themselves. And yes, the link is going to be posted, as Dr. Mooney said earlier, in teachers' MyMCPS classrooms, as well as on the website. And we are hoping that using one link will cut down on confusion, because they can use that same link to join the different subject areas and teachers depending on the hour.
I want to thank Derek Stocker in the chat. It looks like you're commenting. TAP is not just for someone who does not like a grade on a test. Students use it for a whole variety of things. They use it as a chance to have a space to collaboratively problem solve with a teacher. They use it to study in advance for a test, work on a big project, get help with writing, work on lab reports in science. It's not just that they got a grade they didn't like, so they're going to try and bring it up in some way.
There are also some students who use it as just a means of personal accountability, that I know at 3:30 I'm going to sit down and work on my science homework, and that kind of gives them that structure that they like, even if they don't necessarily need to access the help. So it is important. So, and it is open to everyone, especially ninth graders. As we're adjusting, it's something important to know that is available for everyone to access at BCC.
And I would like to echo what Ms. Sutton and Dr. Mooney just said about changing the attitude about tutoring. It's not just because you're in trouble. The best students and the best performers are people who know how to get help. If you remember, if you attended college, and if you remember that when you did the best in classes, I know that I did well in college, and one of the reasons for it was because I sought out my professors on a regular basis. It did not mean that I was a struggling student, but if I had been struggling in some classes, in my math classes, then I was certainly going in for help. But oftentimes I just wanted to be reaffirmed in the work that I was doing. And so please help your students to understand this doesn't mean go there when you're in trouble. Go there to be a good student, to get stronger, to really perfect your performance in school. And I just think that there's so many reasons that students should participate in this program, and it is there for them.
And we will definitely be making sure that all of our teachers understand TAP and what it looks like and what it is used for. So we appreciate everyone's attendance and participation tonight. I did share, I will be posting this recording on YouTube and sending it out in the weekly bulletin. It normally takes me about 24 hours to do all that processing because I'm not a video editor by trade and don't have great tools to do that. But I will send this out so you can refer back to it. And again, the information in terms of the schedule and the links will be shared both on the BCC website, and we will be sending it out to students specifically, and with asking teachers to post it in their MyMCPS classrooms. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and that concludes our webinar on TAP.
Thank you. Good night.